Hi there, it's Daniel Mateola here, and this is Eyesight, Insight, and Foresight. Today I want to talk to you about stepping up to bullies. Stepping up to bullies. I realize that in recent times, the Lord is beginning to tweak a little bit the qualities of people that makes me look at a person as a hero. I'm noticing more and more that I'm becoming attracted to men and women that are fearless. Men and women that no matter what person, what thing, what situation or circumstance comes against them, they stay focused on the mandate of God. They stay focused on the assignment of God for their lives. They refuse to flinch. I'm just attracted to people who are like that. And I'm finding out more and more that I personally am desiring to be like that too. You know, recently I was studying the story of David and the encounter that David had with Goliath. And in that story, the Lord began to show me a lot of very interesting truths that I'd never noticed before. Let me read a little bit of it to you, and I'll share with you some of this because I want to give you some insight and hopefully some foresight today from this story. I'm going to read from 1 Samuel chapter 17, and I'll start from the 3rd verse. The Bible says the Philistines stood on a mountain on one side and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, with a valley between them. And a champion went out from the camp of the Philistines named Goliath from Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of bronze. And he had a bronze armor on his legs and a bronze javelin between his shoulders. Now the staff of the spear was like a weaver's beam, and his iron spearhead weighed 600 shekels, and the shield that went before him. Verse 8. Then he stood and cried out to the armies of Israel and said to them, "Why have you come out to line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine, and you the servants of Saul? Choose a man from yourself and let him come down to me. If he's able to fight with me and kill me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then you shall be our servants and servers." Now, I know some of you may already be familiar with this story, but I read the story intentionally to be able to present to you Goliath as a type of a bully. So Goliath is stepping out. This guy knows he's huge, he's tall, he's strong, he's got armor that is, just incredibly solid. He knew that as far as it was concerned, nobody in the army of Israel was going to be a match for him. So he came out and he boasted and he bullied the people. Let me read a little bit. Later on in that same chapter, in the 23rd verse, I want you to listen to this. It says, "Then as he talked with them," now by this time David had gone to the battle. His father asked him to take some stuff to his brothers. David gets there, he finds out about what's going on in the battlefront and decides, wait a minute, I want to in on this issue here. Who is this Philistine guy who is bullying the army of Israel? So the Bible said, while David was there, verse 23, as he talked with them, there was the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, coming up from the armies of the Philistines, and he spoke according to the same words. So David heard them, and all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were dreadfully afraid. You see, the natural response of people to a bully is they run away. That's the natural response. In school, primary school, secondary school, you always find out that there's always some kid that wants to be a bully, and the kids always go to pick on smaller kids or kids that they know have a tendency to back off and run away. So the expected response to a bully is you back off, you run away. Bullies always expect that. They expect that the victims will be scared and run away. Now, the unexpected response is when a person chooses not to run from a bully. The unexpected response for a bully is when a person says, I'm going to stay and I'm going to fight. That's what bullies don't really expect. Now, I'm going to stop for a moment and just ask you a few questions in your personal life right now. Is there any situation or circumstance that is beginning to bully you? Is there a situation or a circumstance that it's shouting out loud and saying, I dare you to take me on. I dare you to step out to me? Or is it even possible that it's a person? Now, I know that in everyday life, from time to time, we meet people who are bullies. I mean, they just have an intimidating personality. It could be somebody in the workplace that just likes to give you a hard time. It could be somebody in the school. It could be somebody that's a member of your family, that every time that person comes around, the person just tries to bully you, try to scare you, try to make you flinch, try to make you get afraid and back off. This word is for you. Because those who are bullies, what they expect when they come at you, it's that you'll get afraid and you'll run away. What bullies don't expect is that you would stand your ground. The people that I'm referring to as my new heroes, one thing I'm noticing in common with them is that they are people that no matter what looks like a big bad bully that is coming against them, they stand and they do not flinch. Let me read a little bit more from the 41st verse to the 48th verse. I want you to see how David dealt with this bully. And in that dealing, I want to show you about 5 things that you're going to need to learn how to do. I mean, remember, this is God using me to give you some insight into truth so that you can have foresight, because some stuff is either already happening to you or some things are about to happen that the enemy hopes would be a form of a bully that would cause you to get scared and you run away. And for some of you, it could be that the very thing you're about to run away from, or that you started running away from, is the thing standing between you and your destiny. It could be what is standing between you and the fulfillment of the purpose and the plan of God for your life. You see, for a David, it was necessary to have a bully like a Goliath for David to be recognized and for David to step into his prophetic destiny. I want you to listen to this very carefully as I read from verses 41 to 48. I'm still reading from 1 Kings chapter 17. Listen. So the Philistine came and began drawing near to David. And the man who bore his shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was only a youth, ruddy and good looking. So the Philistine said to David, am I a dog that you come to me with sticks? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. You see, bullies don't only just step towards you to scare you, but bullies also do what we call trash talking. In America, it's called trash talking. This is when somebody opens their mouth and begins to say things to intimidate you. I remember being a kid while my parents lived in Nigeria, and sometimes I would witness when 2 people want to fight. And rather than actually get into the fight, one is going to say things like, you know, if you move near me now, I will give you one, I will knock you out. And the other one will say, you dare try it. I will use your head to make pavement cement. You know, people will just go on and on doing this trash talk. Why? Because they're trying to bully the other person into getting afraid and backing down. But listen to how David responds. Even after the Bible said the Philistine cursed David by his gods. Verse 44. And the Philistine said to David, come to me, and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field. Again, a type of a bully trying to scare you by prophesying or speaking in advance a negative outcome in your life. What is it at the moment that you are dealing with that is talking to you? What is talking to you right now and telling you that there's going to be a negative outcome? What is trying to bully you to tell you about a possible negative outcome concerning marriage, or negative outcome concerning family, or negative outcome concerning your finances, or negative outcome concerning your career or your ministry? What's that situation right now that is stepping up to you and doing some trash talking right before you? Well, here is David's response. The Bible said, "Then David said to the Philistine, 'You come to me with a sword and with a spear and with a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts and the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I will strike you and take your head from you. And this day I would give the carcasses of the camp of Philistines to the birds of the air and the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel.'" 47. "Then all this assembly shall know that the Lord does not save with the sword or spear, for the battle is the Lord, and he will give you into our hands." So it was, when the Philistine arose and came and drew near to meet David, that David hurried and ran towards the army to meet the Philistine. Let me share with you 5 things very quickly. Number 1, if you want to know how to step up to your bully, find a course. Find a worthy course. I did not read this to you earlier on, but part of the conversation that had transpired before David spoke to Goliath was David speaking to the men who were at the battle and asking them what was going on. And at some point, his older brothers were there and they heard him. And I believe it was one of the older brothers, Eliab, that said to David, "Hey, what are you doing here? We know the naughtiness of your heart." And David's response was, "Is there not a course? Is there not a curse?" Now, very closely rewarded to a course is a reward. Before you make the decision on whether you're going to step away and run away from a bully, or whether you're going to step up to the bully, you have to consider, what's the reason? Is there something worth stepping up for? And what's the reward? In the case of David, David already heard kingdom life, kingdom wife, kingdom resources, no taxes because of kingdom status. So David knew there was a course. And beyond all of that was the issue of David also knowing that this guy was defying God and trying to defy the army of Israel. Number 2, refuse to be afraid or to run. Whenever the bullies come to you, again, the expected response is that you get scared and you run away. The unexpected response for a bully is that you would stop and not run and look like you're not scared. Number 3, stare down the bully. I don't know whether you've seen 2 people who are preparing to have a boxing match, and the day they do their weigh in, they get this boxer to stand on the scale and get the other boxer to stand on the scale, and then for a moment they allow them to look at each other, and you see the boxers step up to each other and then they begin to stare themselves down. It's like with the eyes, there is a look that you give the opponent that says, "Hey, I'm going to take you out." Right there, the other boxer could decide whether they're going to immediately get scared and says, "Oh my God, why did I decide to fight with this guy?" Or they can stare down the opponent and say, "Hey, you may look at me as much as you like, but I'm not going to back out. I'm not going to back down." This is the attitude that God is calling you listening to me too. Right now, when it comes to the issue of that situation, that circumstance, that person that is trying to bully you, God is saying, not only do I want you to find a worthy course, not only do I want you to refuse to be afraid and run away, but I want you to be able to stand and look at that situation, look at that thing, look at that Goliath, look at that bully, and stare down at the Goliath. Number 4, talk down the bully. Not only should you stare down the bully, talk down the bully. The bully said to David, "I'm going to take you out." And David decided, nope, I'm not going to let you intimidate me. David opens his mouth and talks down the Goliath. As a matter of fact, David went one step forward. He said today, I'm going to take your head off. I mean, listen, this boy did not even have a sword. At the time when he did not have a sword, he said to the bully, I will take your head off. Number one, again, find a worthy course. Number two, refuse to be afraid or to run away. Number three, stare down the bully. Number four, talk down the bully. And finally, number five, step up to the bully. It's really interesting that in the story, the Bible said David ran towards this bully called Goliath. Not only did David originally stand his ground, not flinch, stare him down, talk him down, now David is stepping up to him. Now, some of you may love this, some of you may not understand it. But you know, lately, one of my big heroes is the 45th President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump. I don't think in history there's been any man that has been persecuted this much. I'm talking about a former president of the United States of America. Or as a matter of fact, it started from when he was president of the United States of America. This man was already being spied on while he was running this campaign. Media outlets had already turned against him, and every dirt they could find, they used against him. Every name they could call him, bigot, racist, hates women, anything they could do, they did against him. There were people that were part of his administration that were formerly part of the former administration. I call them the fifth column, that were already in the system that worked against him. He was supposed to be their boss, but systematically from within his administration, they sabotaged him. This man had to go through 2 impeachments, both times without any kind of fair trial. He was being bullied by everything in the system that said, we don't want you to be president. 7 years of investigation. The only president of the United States that got impeached twice. The only president of the United States that they sent FBI's to go and raid his home. He was treated like a common criminal, like some drug lord, where FBI's would go and break down the house. The only president, former president, to be indicted 4 different times. And I look at that man every time he comes on TV and stands and says he's going to take down his enemies. He's going to become the next president, the 47th president. And I'm thinking, what audacity, what courage, what boldness. What is behind this man that gives him such a courage to step up to his bullies? Because you got to understand, it's one man versus a whole system. Some people call it deep state, you call it whatever you like, but it's pretty evident that there's a whole system that is coming against one man. Under normal circumstances, he should get scared, he should step away. As a matter of fact, he should run away somewhere and just go spend the rest of his life in Malago, or just go enjoy one of the other resorts that he has, and forget about fighting a system. But guess what? In this period, he's like a David. Rather than running away, he's staring down his opposition. He's talking down his opposition. You got to understand, somebody comes out of an indictment and steps up to the microphone to say, I know all of them. As soon as I get back there, I'm going to deal with them. Instead of running away, he's continuing to run a race towards 2024 and becoming a president again. Now, it really doesn't matter whether you like President Trump or you don't like President Trump, but all I'm trying to say to you is, in this time that we're living in, God is looking for more Davids. God is looking for more men that will be courageous enough to stare the bullies in the face. God is looking for more people that will step up to whatever it is that is trying to bully you and say, I'm not backing down. I'm going to fight all the way, and I'm going to stop any bully that wants to bully me. I want you to take hold of this word of the Lord. I want you to become encouraged. Take time, consider your life, and look at the situations and the circumstances you're dealing with right now. And whatever it is that seems to have the ability to bully you, don't run away, run to it. Step up to your bully. God bless you. This is Daniel Mateola, and I hope you've enjoyed this particular episode of Eyesight, Insight, and Foresight. If you love this, share, and make sure you subscribe on the channel. Bye for now.